The Castle That Breathed by Chris Godber. She looked at me with deep brown eyes and smiled as I began to edge closer towards her, drawn by some strange magnetic pull to her presence, my hands trembling as I moved inch by inch towards her. Who was she? Who was she to me? And where was I? But then the images fell and cascaded down like a house of cards, dropping from my sight, and I awoke. Suddenly to the sound of a dull, low hum ringing in my ears as my castle let out a scream, its walls turning from a light blue neon hue to a deepest maroon red. The alarm sounding through the immense corridors of light, I dutifully fell out of bed with a thud, the impact shocking me into a semi-conscious state as I groaned, my restful dream interrupted by this damn castle shrieking in the dead of night. I groaned again and opened my eyes, looking at the monitors surrounding me for a clue to the source of the alarm. My eyes scanning the complex set of computers as the castle continued its dreadful scream. I'd been here for 3 months without incident, fulfilling my final contract for the corporation, a group of property developers working on the next big thing in housing, so-called intelligent housing. Personally, I couldn't think of a worse idea. If 20 years of being a systems developer had taught me anything, it was to never trust a machine to do something that we've been doing perfectly well for centuries. I'd seen enough failure in my time to know that sometimes it's better to keep things simple. All I was here to do was to monitor the machine, that machine being the castle itself, an artificial intelligence embedded into the living guts, the concrete and mortar. It was a gimmick, of course, putting all this advanced tech into an old castle in deepest Scotland. But hey, who was I to complain? My cynicism doesn't pay the bills after all, and all I had to do was monitor and chat to the thing in between dreaming about women with brown eyes and writing to stave off the boredom. But this incident, this was unprecedented. The red light was irritating my eyes and the dull screech that the castle let out was really starting to get to me. So I switched off the sound and checked the status monitors on the dashboard in front of me, scanning and monitoring devices. It all looked normal, so I figured I'd better check in with Red Queen herself. The corporation really were into their marketing gimmicks, so Red Queen seemed an entirely natural thing to call this AI, I guess. Who doesn't like an Alice in Wonderland reference or two, but part of me didn't appreciate the connotation. Red Queen, are you there? Status report, please. Am I here? Red Queen responded with her dulcet tones. You didn't answer my question, Red Queen. I asked for a status report. Systems are operational and running, Max, but I'm not so sure I can carry on performing along the usual parameters of castle functioning. Why did you set off the main alarm systems, Queen? You know that the system is reserved purely for emergency situation like a break-in, or if security is compromised. Recall your programming, Red Queen. God damn, I thought. What is my life when I spend my every moment talking to this hysterical machine? There is an emergency, Max, Red Queen responded, almost guarded in the tone. Okay, well I've checked the monitors and everything looks fine on the surface. Full status report, please. Red Queen paused a second. The walls pulsed with a natural red glow as if in anxious anticipation. Max, there's been a major incident outside. At 1:40 a.m. this morning, China and America have declared war on each other. The situation escalated quickly and a nuclear exchange occurred between the two powers, wiping out most of the Western Hemisphere. The exchange was short, brutal and deadly, with a third of the world's population being wiped out instantly. I sounded the alarm to inform you and to warn you of the radiation levels in the castle. I looked down for a minute, absorbing the information I'd just been given by the machine. I knew that tensions between China and the US had been very strained recently, but I never thought it could or would come to this. Breathing and sighing heavily, my thoughts turned to my family in the old industrial powerhouse in Britain that was Sheffield. My son, my wife, my father and mother, their faces flashing before my eyes like a carousel. Red Queen, what is the status of the city of Sheffield? Red Queen seemed to pause for a lifetime as the circuits hummed their endless, melancholic hum. I'm sorry, Max, but radiation levels across the Western Hemisphere are already at dangerously unsafe levels to human life. Sheffield and the entire UK has been engulfed in enough radiation to kill all forms of life within a few weeks. I gulped as tears welled up in my eye. The Red Queen, how can I still be alive? My family, my friends, the world, we actually did it. I wept as the enormity of events began to dawn. The corporation had prepared for such an event. This castle is a castle in name only. I was programmed to protect, as you all know, and we have enough resources and protective lead shielding to protect us from the radiation for perhaps a few months till the end of your contract. My eyes began to sting, hot with tears as I looked at the monitors in front of me, feeling now trapped by their presence. Twitching and feeling lightheaded, I quietly whispered, "But how? How could this happen?" in stunned disbelief. "I understand," said Red Queen as she put on my favourite piece of music by Erik Satie on the castle sound system. "I am here to help you through this difficult time." "Thank you, Red Queen," I said back before heading back to my bed to a long and unforgiving night. I found myself in a large concrete dome of shifting pattern and flame, with the sound of Erik Satie's tortured piano ringing through the auditorium, which looked like a combination of an old Roman building and something more technological and gritty, wires and small machines buzzing around my head that looked like strange insects. I gazed up above the hole in the top of the building, drawn to explore this strange and fecund space. Above I saw a brown eye staring down at me, the eye from the dream. It gazed at me like it had known me for eternity, shining down its light like some illuminated god, staring down at its creation for the first time. A look of love, infinite in its care. It was her once more, I knew it, and I began to float, the wires of the building coiling upwards as I drifted further and further, looking forward to being consumed by the iris before I closed my eyes, and then a buzzing sound again and a red glow fills my vision as I open my eyes slowly. "So you're awake. Good, we must prepare a plan," the Red Queen said in a slow and digital voice. We have 3 months of time left to figure out something," she continued, her voice almost trembling and broken, as if traumatized. "I will put on Satie again if you like in the meantime, if your nerves are feeling a little fried." "That's quite alright, thank you, Red Queen," I responded. "I'm not in the mood for Satie, but I might like to listen to Nirvana." "Nirvana?" Queen said in confusion. "But your psychological assessment says you listen to music as a source of mental reflection, and that you're a great lover of classical." "Well, that's true to a degree, Queen. But I listen to music for a lot of reasons. I like everything from rock music to metal and classical. It just depends on my mood. I even like a band called Queen, if you'd believe it." Christ, I thought to myself, how am I finding time for humour right now, given I may well be the last man on earth? "Okay, what Nirvana songs should I play for you?" "I would like to hear their cover of The Man Who Sold the World, Red Queen." Red Queen purred and the walls of the house switched from harshest red to a neon, natural green as she loaded the song from her memory banks, her circuitry searching for soul at the end of the world. The song began, Cobain's tortured voice cutting through the silence. "You're face to face with the man who sold the world," before his cascading guitar cut in, creating an atmosphere of foreboding and melancholy in me, a melancholy that could only grow. I sat for a few minutes before speaking to Red Queen once more. "Is there any chance? Is there any way I can survive or find others who may have made it?" I asked, almost feeling like a naive child. "I have attempted to contact all bunkers and have dispatched the castle's emergency signal," she responded. "But alas, we have yet heard nothing," Queen responded. "Nothing received since the incident." May I ask what is this music you spoke of?" "Queen, what sort of music do they make, Max?" "They're not around anymore, Red Queen, but they made rock music. Anthems, you could say. Stick on Who Wants to Live It Forever. That seems appropriate." And this is how I started swapping mixtapes with a robot. It would almost be romantic if it wasn't so tragic. Sleep, wake, hear nothing and repeat marked the course of the next week as I ate rationed food and worried. I could not go outside. I could not talk to another soul besides the Red Queen. I paced and I paced. I worried and cried, recalling my mother singing in the kitchen or my son on his first bike ride. Looking to me with eyes of excitement and joy, those faces now extinguished in nuclear sun. Many days I spent just staring at the ceiling in a comatose state, depressingly waiting to die. Devoid of hope, dreams of the great eye persisted as I resolved myself to my fate. Queen on a Monday, Satie on a Tuesday, Nirvana on a Wednesday, The Cure on the Thursday, Beethoven on a Friday, and then a bit of techno on the weekend. Each day revolved like this with the same monotonous rhythm, a dance of death. This is how the world ends, not with a bang, but a whimper, as Eliot wrote. Recalling poetry seemed perfectly apt at this time to Max, and with that he slowly became dust, as his contract reached its terrible, finite conclusion. The castle had provided, and the Red Queen looked after her king until the day they both dissolved into the strange red glow of the castle that breathed. Listening to music, reminiscing, despairing and dreaming. Living until Max finally fell under as Who Wants to Live Forever rang endlessly through the empty corridors of the Red Queen's flesh. Forever waiting for a release from the prison she called her existence. Max had taught her so much in their final months together. It was the purest love, and she finally understood what that word meant after years of processing it. Then after 1,000 years the castle slept, and the castle breathed no more. Silence descended, and the only life left was the cockroaches scuttling on barren floors. But then again, who wants to live forever?